Welcome back to another ACN Mix tutorial. I'm ACN, and today we're going to look underneath the hood and see how did we mix the harmonies to the last song that you watched on the last tutorial, and we're going to dive into that in just a little bit. Don't forget to like and to subscribe. Even leave me a comment. Tell me what you think, and let me know. Maybe there's another type of mixing tutorial you'd like to watch personally. I'll make it for you. I'll do you that favor. However, let's look and see what's going on here with these harmonies. If you notice, we have a lead vocal right here in the center. I put the harmony aux or harmony bus. It's called harms. All these harmonies, which is just a pair of three, we have three of the highs. These are the I'm guessing this is where I sang this. I did all the harmonies, by the way, and I did over here some melody. I had to sing with the melody at this one spot, so that's why we have these here. So I guess that's just lead harmony. I really don't know what that stands for. I just put that there so I don't get confused with the rest of them. So however, here is three highs, three mids, three lows, and three of the bass harmonies that I did. We're going to listen to this in the context of the song with all the instruments and the vocals singing at one time. Let's take a listen real quick.
When all things that surround becomes a shadow in the light of you, I worship you. I worship you.
Beautiful. Came out great. However, let's take a listen to it now in solo and see what's going on. You'll get a better idea of the harmonies. You'll hear the EQ a little bit more better. Let's solo all this real quick. Shouldn't take too long. Corey's got a harmony right here. It just says harmony. He's doing the higher harmony, more of the soprano type of harmony, or whatever you want to call it. Let's take a listen right from here.
When all things that surround becomes a shadow in the light of you, I worship you. I worship you.
Sounds amazing. Sounds great in solo. We heard all the harmonies. But what did we do to it to make it sound like that? How did we get the frequency response? How did we boost? How did we cut? Let's take a look under the hood right here. All these harmonies have no plugins, by the way, except for Corey's, because Corey, I gave him, actually, he's being sent to a different vocal bus. So the truth is, there's nothing being done there either. So whatever EQing and compression I did to the main vocal, he's receiving that as well from the vocal chain. So let's look under the hood for all the harmonies. There is no reason for me to put them in plugins here because they're smooth. They don't need to have their own EQ or compression. That's just my opinion for this song anyways. I sent them all here to an aux or a bus. This is what's going on under the hood. We have the virtual mix rack starting from the beginning to the end. We have a preamp at about in the middle of, I'd say 5 or 6 dB. This thing hits very hard. It literally says saturation. Once she starts to saturate, she gives you that old vintage sound, but she's hitting a little bit in the middle. Even if she does hit 0 over here, you're not going to hear it too much. It all depends how aggressive the input is going in to the output. On the virtual channel, it's set to British 4K, which is an SSL 4000 console emulation, giving you just the sound of that all on its own. It's working out fine. The way she hits, the saturation can hit pretty hard, but once again, that all depends how hard you drive it. There's nothing going on right here with the FGN. There's nothing happening. There's no EQ curves. All the EQ moves are happening with the SSL, and I am boosting 13 dB of 10K. I'm also, the reason why I didn't choose 8K, because I know that's kind of the SSL, that's kind of, I guess, the SSL stereotype. We're going to boost that 8K because why? It's a great frequency. It's one of my favorites. But I wanted this a little bit more smooth. So I usually choose, when I want a smoother sound, I usually choose 10 or 12. Over here, I'm boosting a little over 4 dB of some, we'll call it 500, because we're getting more snap. Because remember, when you can't get the snap out of the high end because you want more smoother style, like the 10K or the 12K, you can get the snap. We're not looking for shine in the high mids. We're looking for that more crisp sound you're gonna get in the highs, but it's more in the high mids. So I'm cutting very little bit of 2 dB of the six and a half. We'll call it almost 700 hertz. I'm boosting 120 at 7 dB, a little over 7 dB, and I'm cutting 60 hertz, well actually 72 hertz, it says right there. If you look, it says 72 hertz in the filters, in the high pass filters, because there was a little bit rumble in the bass harmony. And if you pay attention, there's no compression. I'm not compressing. Why? Because the harmony was, I'm not saying I'm a smooth singer, I'm just saying I sang the song as smooth as I can. I didn't have to do any peak reduction moves and using 1176 with a release or a fast attack, because it wasn't necessary. Well, Anthony, why didn't you use an LA2A? Because it wasn't necessary, and that's my favorite vocal plugin. It's right here, actually. When I was mixing the song, I had it sitting right here. It sits right in the middle of my 2 EQs all the time. It's on there. Religiously, I put it there. It's my routine. As I was mixing, I pressed play. I was listening to the playback, and I did this. I didn't need it. I took it right out of the mix. You can do the same as well. You don't have to compress everything. Always remember, think about that. Does it need compression? If all you got to do is just EQ it and add a little saturation, which, not the full distortion of a saturation, but just give it some color. Remember, these two plugins right here, they're giving color to the sound, giving more of a natural EQ before we EQ. And this guy is not even doing that, but it's on standby just in case I need it to maybe boost something. Revival's not even doing nothing. So it didn't take much to get that sound. Matter of fact, the quality of the harmonies is coming from the stacks itself, because I got 3 of each one of them. And that's giving like this coarse effect, like this course is coming in. So there you have it. This is how I did the EQ to the harmony. That's how I did everything. It was put together in that fashion. And let's take a look at the reverb. I have the vocal verb on there, just like Corey has on his voice on the lead vocal. And I'm using the Rev 6000 by Relab Development. This is the little brother to the Lexicon 480. And this little guy does amazing things if you know how to use them properly. And then if we go all the way up, all the way to the top at the reverb palettes, I have Hall, Short, Plate, and Hiss. And these 4 reverbs, if you go back to a couple of videos back, as a matter of fact, I'll leave that at the end and you can go watch that. It's a tutorial I did on how to use reverbs, or how to get a blend of reverbs when you put them together. I'm using the Hiss reverb on the harmony bus, which is right here. So the vocal bus, it's barely touching minus 20, and the Hiss reverb is at 0. And the reason why, and you got to think about things like this. That's why the harmony, including the vocal, has so much reverb on it. Well, I'm just saying the harmony in general, because it's boosted so high. But also, when I boost this, there's an EQ. There's a certain EQ setting on these reverbs, and I'm getting the EQ response from it as well, and it's just giving a nice blend of whatever EQ is going on there in the reverb itself, without a secondary EQ. And this is the sound we're getting. So if you think that this is something you can do to your harmonies, instead of adding them in plugins over here, and just send them all to a bus, you'll be amazed at the sound you'll get with the same reverbs that your vocal has, which I always recommend that. Get the same sound of the reverb of your vocal, because it just blends in well. You get the same time when it begins, when it ends, or if it's just the same sound. You don't have to be so you don't have to be a scientist of when it's going to start or end, or however. Get the sound that you're looking for And you can do it all on one plugin. So when I did the automation, I had one fader instead of, 12. I think that's 12 or 13 or 14. And if you look right over here on this green line, all I done was move the fader up and down. Just move the fader up and down. And I automated it. I automated everything to sit in the mix. And that's how I got the sound. It didn't take much. So record it well, you'll get a better mix. This is what I did to the harmonies. If this is something you can send in someone else's direction that you think they might need help with, I always say that in every tutorial, send this tutorial, send this video their way. So like and subscribe, tell me what you think, and I'm about to put another mix tutorial later on this evening as well. You're going to see more mix tutorials, maybe this song, a different song. We're going to start to get into instruments. So stay tuned. Thank you for stopping by. This is ACN Studios.